Hi there, back again to share another recipe with you. Today I'm sharing a recipe for some gluten-free raspberry buns. If you've not tried raspberry buns before, they're very similar to a scone but a bit softer, and they're coated in sugar and they're absolutely delicious. So I'll crack on and share the recipe with you now. Okay, so into the bowl first goes some gluten-free self-raising flour. I'm using Asda gluten-free self-raising flour today. Next I'm going to put some xanthan gum in. If you followed my recipes before, you'll know that I don't often use xanthan gum, but for these raspberry buns it does benefit having that a little bit in. So I'm just going to put a level teaspoon of xanthan gum in there. Okay, I'm just going to then whisk that round, just stir that in. Okay, then next up I'm just going to add some cube cold butter and then just rub that into the flour. Okay, so once the butter's rubbed into the flour and it looks about like that, I'm just going to add in some caster sugar. The full recipe for this is over on my blog, and I'll just put that through my hands. So I'll put the link below in the written description. That'll take you over to the full recipe. Okay, and then to this I'm going to add a beaten egg and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And just stir that through like that. And once I've stirred the egg through, I'm just going to add enough milk, so enough cold milk, just until it forms a soft, slightly sticky dough. Just do it gradually, and then it doesn't go too far. Okay, so you can put your hands in just to sort of check how it feels, and to be honest, that feels about right now, so I'm going to stop with the milk at that point. So it's a lovely simple recipe to do this, and I'm putting raspberry jam in today, but you can use any filling. I've seen a recipe recently that bakes the bakes the buns first empty and then puts the caramel in and then pipes over chocolate, and that looks really good as well. Okay, so that's basically just cleaning the bowl, but it is still quite sticky. But what I'm just going to do now is just grab a bowl, sort of grab a piece of each one, so it's about ping pong size ball. I mean, this should divide to about 12 portions, so it makes 12 raspberry buns. And I'm just going to pop these now onto a prepared tray, so just roll them into like little balls. But you can always, if you feel like you've gone a bit much, you can always pinch a bit back off one and work it that way as well. So it's just like saying, just roll them out. And if you make them quite smooth, the first time I made them, they looked a little bit scruffy, and it was because I'd done them a little bit rough and ready. And I was going to share the recipe, but Neil said they didn't look good enough. So I did do them again. So to make them neat, if you just roll them and make them a bit smoother like that, then that should work. And then just space them out a little bit there, like that on the tray. Okay, so it's roughly, say, 12 that you get out of them, give or take. We'll see how I get on today. You could go bigger and bake for longer. It's entirely up to you. So don't add too much flour because that'll change the consistency of the mixture. And you do want these to be quite nice and soft when they're baked. So give or take, if you just even them up as much as possible. I mean, I suppose you could cut them up and make it really even. Quite fun doing it this way. So that's them all done like that. Just give my hands a quick rinse. So these what I call raspberry buns are actually referred to quite often as thumbprint cookies as well. And the reason is because you make a thumbprint to put the jam in like that. I've seen somebody use like something like that and do a little indentation, and that is something you could do as well if you like. I'm going to try a couple like that as well to see how they work out, because I've not done that myself before. I just saw somebody I follow on Instagram doing that, so I thought I'll try some of them like that as well, and I'll do the rest like I do my thumbprint. To make it a decent amount of jam, if you dip your thumb in a bit of the flour, the gluten-free flour, you can wiggle it around a bit to make it a bit bigger as well. I quite like the idea of it being a thumbprint. And now you can see why children, I think, would like to do something like this as well. And they're nice and quick and easy to make. I'm just going to neaten that up a little bit. It's a bit craggy. The beauty is you can do that with this. You're not going to sort of mess anything up. So just neaten that one up. And that one as well. There we go. Play around a little bit with them. Okay, and then before I fill them with any jam, I'm just going to brush them over with a little bit of milk and sprinkle them with some sugar. And then just sprinkle over with a bit of sugar then. A bit mad with that one then, a bit too much sugar. Actually, sprinkle over like that, that's actually better. You'll probably not be as heavy-handed if you go with your hands rather than a spoon like I was just doing then. And then I'm just going to fill these with some really nice raspberry jam. Find it easier to line a piping bag and put the raspberry jam in that way. You can use a little teaspoon, but I think by using this you can direct the jam a little bit better. So I'll pop that in there. And it's already nice and soft, this jam, so I don't need to do anything more with it. And anything I've got left over I can just pop back into the jar. So with that I'm just going to for each one, I'm just going to pipe that raspberry jam in. So doing it with this, it's so much easier than trying to do it with a teaspoon. Okay, dripping a bit there. And then I'm just going to pop them into a preheated oven and then bake for about 18 minutes or so, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. So that's what they're like before they're going in now. Okay, so that's the raspberry buns all baked. They bake for about 16 minutes in the oven, but as I mentioned before, the full recipe is over on the blog and I'll put the link for that below. And talking about the full recipe, I actually said in the recipe when I was talking to you, a teaspoon of xanthan gum, it's half a teaspoon of xanthan gum, but the correct amount is in the recipe. So if you follow what's on the recipe, that's brilliant. So there we go, that's the cooked raspberry buns. As I say, inside the texture is similar to a scone, but once they're cold, I'll cut one and just show that as the end picture as well. So that's how I go about making gluten-free raspberry buns. I do hope it's inspired you to want to give them a go. Do give me a shout if you have any questions, and I look forward to being back again to share more recipes with you really soon. In the meantime, take care and bye for now.